MyMMAnews.com, being joined by Daniel Big Kansas Gallemore. He is set to take on Doug Holland on April 9th at Lion Fight 65, going down on UFC Fight Pass. This will be my man's debut in the Muay Thai ring, so I'm very eager to talk to him. Seasoned vet in Bellator, seasoned vet in PFL. Thank you for joining me, Daniel. What's going on?
Not a thing, man. Getting ready to eat dinner. Had last hard sparring was yesterday, so I'm kind of chilling today. I hit some weights, and then I'm going to get some good protein, some sweet potatoes, and try and maintain this weight. My weight keeps dropping off a little faster than we anticipated, but there's worse problems. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, you look significantly leaner and in a lot better shape than previous times that some people have seen you in the past. What I'm saying is you look in great shape for your first time back in over a year. So what's been given for this past couple, this year?
Man, in the fall, my longtime girlfriend and I split up, and I did a lot of self-reflection and some self-discovery. I read a couple books, and I decided that, everybody talks about, like, I'll be the change you want to see, blah, 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 put on an example. Everybody talks about it, but nobody really walks the walk, And I decided that it was time for me to walk that walk. I've got kids, and my son's 14. And I was like, damn, I want to be the person that I want him to be. I want him to aspire, like, to take care of himself, to walk a better path in life and to not be complacent, not be lazy. So I decided I changed my diet around, run every day, except today, because I had sparring last night. My legs are pretty beat up, but I run at least a mile every day. And I still actually might run today too. It depends. I was kind of pressed for time tonight, but I will probably run tonight even to get my 1 mile in minimum.
So I'm curious, man. Like I said, seasoned vet in so many of the world-class premier organizations, and now Lion Fights being like the premier Muay Thai promotion in the United States, and you making your Muay Thai debut. I mean, what made you make the step over to kickboxing? I mean, not even kickboxing. You've had kickboxing bouts, but Muay Thai now.
Man, I wanted to do Muay Thai since I was a little kid. I wanted to do Muay Thai since before I knew what MMA was. When I was a little kid in Kansas, I watched Kickboxer, probably wasn't even supposed to. And I literally went outside. I remember kicking trees, and I was probably like 8 years old. But it was pretty funny. I was in Hawaii, and I kicked an actual banana tree, right? Because that's what it is in the movie. And I remember being so disappointed because they're so soft. And I was like, man, I was kicking trees in Kansas. I was kicking like oak trees and elm trees and the trees in the backyard. And when I was a little kid, a tree's a tree. I didn't realize how soft a banana tree was. I kicked the tree, and my buddy was with me, and I was like, man, Van Damme's up. And he was like, what are you talking about? I was like, dude, this tree is so soft. And he's like, dude, why'd you kick the tree? He was a younger guy. He'd never seen the movie. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, man, this is easy. This is like a Muay Thai bag. Like kicking the bottom of the bag. It's not that hard. But yeah, I wanted to do Muay Thai since I was a little kid. And then even as an amateur, I had some kids club wrestling and a little bit of striking stuff before, but then I started training MMA, and then I started going back and forth in cross training in Omaha, Nebraska. This was several years ago. Like I said, I was an amateur. I started cross training in Omaha with Mick Doyle and those Muay Thai guys, and Houston Alexander was my partner, and there was different guys in and out of there too. But I've always loved the kickboxing stuff, but the MMA thing took off. And I mean, you probably know this, but I'm more of a striker in MMA anyway, but the MMA thing took off, and then like, you're under this contract and you're under that contract. And then, next thing you know, I've got a dozen, 15, 20 fights under my belt. And it's like, oh, I can't really make my kickboxing debut, right? Like I can't, that wouldn't be fair. I can't fight an 0-0 guy or a 1-0 guy. That wouldn't be fair to them. And then for like a 5-0 or a 6-0 guy, that would be a lose-lose, right? Because if I beat them, then they lost to a debut guy. And then if they beat me, then they beat a debut guy. Like it's not. So I get it as far as the business side goes. Thankfully, Dale Cook had that tournament down in Oklahoma. That was a blast. That was so much fun. But that was the first single-day tournament I ever fought in. I fought stupid. Wasn't checking kicks. I remember after the first fight, I was like, dude, I feel good. And I like took 2 steps, and I was like, oh, my leg hurts so bad. I was like, man, I should have checked those kicks. The coach was like, yeah, dumbass. I was like, man, it's like I forgot I have another fight. But it obviously worked out well. I think I was number 19 on UFC Fight Pass for finishes that year.
So When did you know that you wanted the 2021 return? I mean, like we said, you had that little bit of time off. You have family things going on, everything like that. But when did Lion Fight approach you with the offer?
So, my manager and I are pretty close. He's a very good personal friend. He's not just a manager, and he knew, that I'd been making some lifestyle changes, and that I was just getting in shape to get in shape, right, to be healthy, because that's the change I wanted to see. Like, I want my kids to be in shape and take care of their bodies and eat better and stuff. So I was doing that, and it was pretty obvious. I mean, I got a 5:27 mile for the fun of it. Like, I talked to friends of mine, like, oh, I wish I could break it for a 6-minute mile. I was like, I'm pretty sure I can right now. I'm going to try. So then I hit a 5:43. And then I was in the gym, and this guy, long story short, he was like, yeah, I wish I had your abilities. And I was going to just cruise through a couple. It was the day after Valentine's Day. I was up entirely too late and didn't eat well. But I was like, I was going to cruise through a 2-mile run on the treadmill. And after he said that, I was like, nah, let's see how fast I can go. So I kept pace, and I ran at a 5:27 mile at 245 pounds. Granted, that was at sea level. I can't do that up here. Not yet. But I mean, I was moving, and I was getting lean, and I was maintaining my strength. So then Robert was like, hey, I see you. I think you should use this. Like, you're in really good shape right now. You want to fight? I was like, dude, I would. So then we talked to Lion Fight about a different fight. And sorry, all this new positivity, man. There's so many people that reach out to me constantly. And it's a beautiful thing. I love it. Like, the energy I'm giving up is so motivational too. There's no turning back. It's awesome. Anyways, so they started talking to Lion Fight. I can't remember, because there was a Kansas card, and I was one of the ones that helped push Muay Thai to be legal in Kansas, like to get it to happen in Kansas. So then I was like, hell yeah, I want to fight Muay Thai in Kansas. I'm the one that helped get Muay Thai to Kansas. I was like, come on, now that's a given. Like, that, no problem. I was like, just say who. Yeah. Just give me a date and say who and tell me what weight. So then there was a different fight. I was actually there. I was in talks. I don't know how I probably shouldn't say too much, but I was in talks for a different fight, a higher profile fight, but I wasn't going to be able to make the weight they wanted. At least I didn't think I could, and I wasn't sure about how I would perform, because I haven't walked around this light in a decade, and I don't know that I've ever been this lean before. So I just don't, I'm obviously comfortable and I feel good, but I don't know for sure what I'm going to do, because I've always had the heavier weight, but at the same time, my recovery is great. Like, it's awesome. And I move so much better because I'm so much lighter, and I didn't lose the muscle mass. It's a beautiful thing.
And speaking of the heavyweights and everything right now, I mean, Lion Fight, you couldn't have been coming in at a better time with the heavyweights, because they have their heavyweight tournament going on right now. I want to ask, just sidestepping real quick, considering that it will be Joe Stripling taking on Warren Thompson, what do you think about that fight? Just because now, being an official Lion Fight heavyweight yourself, I mean, you theoretically, with all the experience, are in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with a good performance, on this show, I would be right in the mix. I was honestly kind of surprised Warren Thompson pulled that off. I've trained with Cody East in Albuquerque, and East is a beast, man. He didn't look like he was in very good shape. You never know, like, what's going on behind the scenes, like how your personal life, like me, like my personal life. If you looked at my physique now and my physique in my last PFL fight, you'd be like, what the hell? He's on crack. He's doing something. Like, even my mom, like, I questioned it. I was like, dude, I asked my ex-wife, I was like, hey, so I made these changes and stuff, but my sleep patterns have changed. Like, my energy level is different now. And I didn't do anything. Like, I cut out caffeine. I should be tired all the time. I'm at a calorie deficit. I should be tired all the time. I'm not. I was like, do you think I have CTE? Like, should I get a brain scan? You think there's something wrong? And she was like, I don't think so. I was like, okay, I won't. But like, I questioned it. So as far as those guys go, I was surprised he beat Cody East. He looked good though. Joe, man, that guy that's crazy, that his ability, because you look at his physique and he's like, oh man, he's too many rules, but damn, no, you don't. He's great. Like Roy Nelson, reminds me of Roy back in the day, rub his belly and stuff after he choked somebody out in IFL. But I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely going to pay more attention. I know that I've seen some likes and some stuff on my Instagram that they're starting to pay attention to. So I'm kind of curious how it all plays out, but I'm definitely not opposed to, jumping right in there with that. I know they're probably contractually obligated to have that fight soon. And then I don't know what the guys that they had beat are doing. I'm not sure what the status is on that. Hefe, I believe it was the same guy, was in the tournament with me. He won the tournament that I was in Oklahoma. We didn't square off against each other. I lost in the semifinals, or the final, whatever it was. But he was pretty good, but he didn't he was in very good shape either. So I don't know. It's a wild card. like with Warren and Cody East, I thought Cody East was going to get that tournament hands down. Then I saw him and I was like, oh, maybe not. So it's hard to say where I would fit in the mix and then what happens. I don't want to look too far ahead because it all depends on performance, upcoming. And this is a new sport for me. Like, it's not like leaps and bounds new. It's not something I am not familiar with, but it's not the same thing.
Right. So getting back to your fight in itself, obviously, like you said, not looking too far ahead, but with Doug Holland, what do you know about him as far as like personally and what you can expect from him as an opponent? I mean, we're in such a day and age where you can YouTube anybody and what they're doing, but what do you know about him as an opponent?
I honestly don't know much, man. He's only got one fight on YouTube. It wasn't a very long one. It was from 2019. I've watched that several times, as have my partners and coaches. His lion fight stuff, I couldn't find it. I didn't see it on Fight Pass, so I'm not real sure. He's got a couple articles online talking about how he was a power lifter, and he fell in love with the karate black belt, I believe, and then started doing kickboxing. And he's got a fantastic story, man. I mean, I'm pretty confident in my abilities. I think his next chapter might be a little rough, but I mean, I don't know. 6'3", 235 is the weight for us. So I'm going to probably be the bigger person. I'm cutting down a little bit on purpose. Like I said, I'm getting ready to eat a steak to try and keep my weight up. Steak, potatoes. But yeah, that's been actually a little bit of a chore, which is crazy. But it's just because I've increased my intensity so much. I run first thing in the morning, then I go help with horses, and then I go work, and then I go to the gym afterwards and whatnot. And I usually run at the gym too. I get 2 or 3 miles in a day on top of classes. So my caloric output is pretty high, but I don't know. Sorry, I'm just rambling. I don't know a lot about him. Personally, I know he's Orthodox. He's 6'3", probably around 235. He was a former power lifter, so I'm assuming he's probably strong, like real strong, because you don't, if you just lean out, right, the muscle mass doesn't go away. The tendon, ligament strength, it's all still there. He doesn't have a lot of experience, though. I do know that. I think he only had a handful of amateur fights and then a few professional fights, and I believe it's all kickboxing, which is good way because it's all Muay Thai. But at the same time, like, I don't think he can throw anything at me that I haven't already seen before.
I was going to say, do you think your experience is what going to be one of your keys to the victory in this bout?
I do. And I've kind of got a home field advantage that I'm coming down from elevation too. I'm sitting right now, I'm in Westminster, Colorado. Sun's going down over the mountains. So I was in excellent shape before I got here. And then I started to acclimate to the higher elevation too. So my pace and volume should be significantly higher than what he's going to be able to have for an output, theoretically speaking. And then my experience as well, that's a big thing. I'm pretty sure I had like 3 times as many amateur MMA fights as he's had fights.
So, I mean, this is being a new version of yourself, like you were talking about earlier in the interview, your previous days kind of being a little bit different. And once you made the change in your diet, in your character, everything like that, what has that done for you as far as 1, in the gym, 2, your fighting career, because this is almost like a new chapter for your fighting career, and 3, your personal life at home, man?
And my personal life is different now, because she and I were together for 5.5 years. There's no hard feelings there. She's an amazing person. I didn't even talk to her today, but I think we talked yesterday. Like, we still get along great. She's still part of my kids' life, which is a big part of the reason I wanted her in my life was for my kids, because she's such a great person. That was where I was hung up, though. I wasn't being that person. I brought her in instead, and I decided she left, so I got to take that role myself now. And I owned every bit of that responsibility and did so. But as far as the gym goes, I feel like I'm an easier person to be around. Like, people gravitate towards me now, just because I'm a happier person. I let a lot of stuff go. I let a lot of animosity go and grudges, and I've tried to understand people before being understood, and like communication factors and stuff like that. My education and growth has significantly increased, emotional growth especially. And I feel like that's, paying dividends in the gym. It's paying dividends with my energy level. Even my sleep patterns changed, man. I sleep so much better now. It's crazy. Like, I don't understand it. I still don't understand it, because I'm knowledgeable about the stuff. I'm not a doctor, but I've been around the block as far as this stuff goes, and nutrition and everything. And it's crazy. And then even then, like, my nutrition, I was killing it, right? I wasn't doing keto, but I was lowered my carbs and stuff. And I started leaning up fast enough so that I got a nutritionist, and that she was like, hey, you need more carbs. Like, you need to eat more carbs. And I was like, okay, I will. Even last night, I was like, hey, I'm getting a steak and cottage cheese and mangoes. And what was the other thing? Steak, cottage cheese, mangoes. oh, just squash and broccoli. She said carbs in all caps. I was like, okay, I'll get some rice too. It's like my caloric intake, and then just the timing too has been huge. But even like my nutritionist, she was a really go happy person. You know, she's very mindful of stuff. So it's been easier to get along with those people more now, and like just people in general. But yeah, my motivational factor is through the roof, man. Just crazy through the roof.
Which I was with the personal life, I was more over gearing towards. I mean, your kids, obviously, they're old enough, 14 years old, like your son. He has to see this change in you. It couldn't make him more prouder, I'd imagine, because you're just that more of a beaming light in his life. He sees you wanting to strive for more, be better for him. That, I mean, that has to be a great feeling as a father, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know, that is the father that I didn't have at 14. My dad died when I was 13. And before that, you know, there was, I don't want to go into details. I had a less than ideal childhood though. You know, the environment I was in and stuff wasn't the American dream, that's for sure. And then like it's my ex-wife that they stay with, but yeah, he's absolutely seen the differences. And I've had him read some of the books too. He and I are also in a nutritionist course, like a college accredited nutritionist course online and stuff, even at 14 years old. And then I feel like I'm a better person to be around, and he can appreciate that too. And then thankfully he was kind of taking steps along the same way with being condescending and being kind of short with people, and then overthinking situations and taking it to a negative context. Like, so it helps him too. You know, one of the books I read was called "I Used to Be a Miserable Fuck," and I got him a copy. He read it too. And then he pulled out his phone one time, and I thought he was texting somebody. There was like paragraphs. And I was like, oh, who are you texting a novel to? He's like, no, Dad, these are my notes from the book. I was like, oh. I was like, that's awesome. Like he had paragraph, like he had notations that he had saved in his phone from the book. He was listening on Audible, and he was typing in notes in his phone. I was
That
like,
is sick.
Amazing. Yeah, I was
Awesome.
And then like my coach back in Kansas, we went for a run. He'd got COVID, and he was talking about how he was going to live a healthier lifestyle after COVID and stuff. I slept on his couch. I came down from Nebraska. I was going back on weekends, and I got up and I went and ran, and I walked through a cemetery, and I was like, damn, this is where we all end up, right here. I was like, where do you want to be when you end up here? Because you don't know when that's going to be. And then I ran back to the house, and I beat on his door. I was like, Shannon, I was like, get your damn shoes. He's like, whoa, what's going on? I was like, get your shoes on. You were talking all that stuff about being healthy. We're going to go for a run. It'll be easy, but we're going to go for a run. We did the same thing and went through the cemetery, and, you know, we had a little heart to heart in the cemetery and went back to the house. And then his wife texted me a few hours later, thanking me. It was like, hey, that hit home hard. You know, like I don't know what you told him, but he took it to heart. And then he sent me a picture. It was probably a week later of him and his sons running the same route. He's older. His boys are older. Well, one of his boys is older, but they were out running the same route. He had them out jogging and stuff too. And I had to stop the truck, man. I was so happy. I was like, oh my God, like I'm that guy. Like I influenced him to go run. And then now he's got his boys out there doing it. I was like, that is so amazing. And then even my son, we went, and I just had a lot of energy, man. I was like, hey, you want to go do some conditioning or something? So we went to his football field at the high school he goes to, and we went and we're doing conditioning and stuff out there and just racing around and having a good time doing like partner planks where you slap hands and stuff and just mess around. And it was really enjoyable. And he even mentioned, he was like, Dad, like other parents don't do this. I was like, okay, they don't, but they should. I was like, dude, he was like, yeah. He's like, he wanted to get, you know, because we're going through those classes, he wants to get his team, like teammates and stuff and friends, and get us all involved in it, which is fantastic too. But yeah. I'm stoked about that.
Wow. What a story, man. I mean, I almost can talk about that all night, but here we are. I have to talk about the fight. But yeah, man. So we talked about Doug Holland and what you thought about. You don't know much about him as an opponent, but your experience taking a key factor in this fight. So with you not knowing that much about him, how do you plan on taking him out? Because experience is a thing. He might have the kickboxing bouts and whatnot, but you know what I mean? Again, you've been at the higher stages, so that has to account for something. How do you take him out?
I mean, I don't want to like give away game plan. I just think his, you know, his skills aren't as developed. I feel like he comes from a smaller gym. You know, I don't think he's been with Greg Jackson. I don't think he's been with, you know, Eric Del Fiero, Trevor Whitman, you know, Elliot Marshall, Cody Donovan. Like I've been in the gyms. Like I've been sparring partners for Travis Brown, and I are buddies, and Curtis Blades, and I like some of the top guys in the world. Like I know him personally. We've all punched each other in the face. Like, it's been a good time. Like, I've seen those guys. I've seen those looks. I've been in there with, top 5 guys dozens of times. My kid sat down and wrote how many UFC fighters he knew. He's like, oh, I'm friends with Matt Brown. Like, that's cool. Like, it's pretty cool, like. But I've seen so many looks that I can see the holes in his game and like where he's messing up. I think because there isn't a lot of footage, but he doesn't have a lot of experience. But I just don't think that he has been in the situations and under the same lights and with the same people. I know he hasn't been under the same lights and with the same people. So I'm not, I don't want to sound overconfident because he is good. I mean, there's nothing wrong. And I'm sure he is strong. Like, power lifter down to 235. He's probably a shitload stronger than I am. At least in theory. I've never done that, but I know that sticks with your body for sure. It doesn't just go away. But as far as taking him out goes, I'm gonna have to feel him out first just to see, because I don't know what he's gonna do. I watched the film and I see habits that he's got, and he's kind of throwing different stuff, but there's not any like specific thing. Like, there's not one specific hole that I saw. I saw just different like variances in his style and some bad habits that he's got that he's picked up over the time. And then I'm hoping to capitalize on those.
And I know you don't want to give too much of your game plan away, clearly, but I'll start letting you go in a minute. I know you want to get your steak and potatoes, but with this new physique, this new you and everything, it makes me curious. Are we going to see a different form of Daniel Big Kansas Gallemore?
Man, honestly, I'm one of those guys that trains a lot better than I practice. And I move really well in training. And even like as an amateur, I was throwing axe kicks and crazy stuff as an amateur. I didn't really do it as a pro much. Like, you saw a glimpse of the jiu-jitsu on PFL when I was trying to pull off the go-go. There's some pretty cool stuff that I can do, and I'm comfortable doing it. This is going to depend on the opponent and everything. And then my mindset, like taking a clearer mindset into the ring and not carrying animosity and not fighting angry, and being grateful that I can be there and that I can entertain people. Because it's fucking amazing, right? Like, not everybody can do this. They just can't. There's so many people that wish they could, but not everybody can. And I have this physical ability, this physical gift to do this, to go out there and entertain and to influence all these different people in such a positive manner now, that I think the clarity in the weight off my chest, it should pay dividends in the ring. I shouldn't, I don't want to say black out, but I should be able to focus more. I know just in sparring last night, I could hear my coach. I could hear my buddy Bubba that came. We fought twice, and he was still in there with me to help me, which is so grateful for that dude. Such a good partner. But I could hear them in the corners. It's clearly like everybody's like, "Oh, you should do this. Oh, watch that. Oh, watch this." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Whereas before, a lot of the times I could kind of hear coach, but it was like go time, like kill switch engaged, and I'm not like, I'm zoomed in for the kill. It's not fun. It's not sport. I was in there fighting with animosity and with anger and resentment, and that's not the way to fight, man. We've seen several of the best fighters in the world that fought angry and then fell off because they're, but at the same time, it's like, dude, I'm so grateful that I can be there. I'm so grateful that I'm fighting back in Kansas too. It's been a long ass time since I fought in Kansas. Super stoked for that. I've got the people I'm eating dinner with tonight out here in Colorado are driving in for the fight. Like, there's people, one of my best friends is flying in from Phoenix. Like, people coming down from Nebraska. There's people coming from all over to watch this fight in person in Salina, Kansas. And you probably have never been to Salina, Kansas, but there's not much else there. Like, they're going to Salina for me. And I'm super grateful for that too, that it's so motivating that people are so, that they want to see it. Like, they want to see me succeed. They want to see the event. They want the entertainment. And then I have the gift and the abilities to do that. And I'm going to utilize that while I'm not old and broken, because we're not getting any younger, right? Father Time gets us all. But
he always does, man. Well, I appreciate your time, man. I do. And again, get those steak and potatoes. I appreciate your time, man. Good luck against Doug Holland. And I look forward to speaking in the future. I look forward to seeing your Muay Thai debut at Lion Fight 65 on UFC Fight Pass. Before I let you go, sponsors and shout outs and social media, how the fans keep up with you.
Oh man, I just forgot the guy's name. We got after party in Salina. I can't remember the name of the bar though. It looks fantastic. I haven't been looking at the pictures because it looks fantastic, and I want a cheeseburger so bad. I'm not eating one. Power Post mouth guards though, for sure. He hooked me up with the mouth guard. Title Boxing, they hooked me up with a huge care package, man. It was so fantastic. Everything, they asked what I wanted or needed, and I told them, and they sent all of it. It's like, oh, sweet. I didn't ask for a bag though. I should ask for a bag because I got a great big box and no bag. Black Dog Towing. So those are some friends of mine that I made because my big monster truck gelled up. The diesel gelled up when I was trying to hurry to Kansas City to see Travis and Rhonda with my kids. But that's how I met Steve Hamlin, the owner of Black Dog Towing, and his wife Whitney. They're sponsoring me for this event too, which is fantastic. I think that's about it. I didn't really pursue sponsors. I wasn't. This is for fun. It's not. I'm trying to get past the business aspect. This is for fun. Like this is. I'm grateful to be able to do it, and it's going to be fun. And I haven't been.
It's going to be fun.
I haven't honestly been able to say that I was excited and that a fight was going to be fun in a long, long time.
It sounds like it's going to be fun in your backyard, in the sport that you've been wanting to do and get off your bucket list for a long time, the sport that you helped bring to Kansas. Everything's looking to be coming in line for you, man. Couldn't be happier for you. Thanks again for joining me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Have a good night.
There he goes. Daniel Big Kansas Gallemore set to take Doug Holland on at April 9th at Lion Fight 65. You don't want to miss this fight on UFC Fight Pass. My man, Big Kansas, making his first fight back in over a year. Don't miss it. For Daniel Big Kansas Gallemore, I'm Adam Christ. Make sure you keep it locked to mymmanews.com for all your fight news.